In this pre-algebra video, chapter 2, lesson 5, we're going to talk about solving multi-step equations. I'm already going to start by telling you this section is going to have one small skill before we get it started, and then it's going to look exactly like we were doing last section in 2-4, solving with the equations with the variable on both sides. It's going to turn into just like that. So our objective is, as the student, I can solve multi-step equations because I will simplify both sides of the equal sign first with the distributive property, then I'll combine like terms, and after that it's going to be just like what we learned last chapter, and you're going to solve it using the properties of equality. I just abbreviated wrote props of equality. So let's get right to it. There is no new vocabulary, there's literally just one thing. So what we're first going to do is we're going to simplify both sides fully. When I say that, I mean get rid of the parentheses. That's why I wrote first by using the distributive property if necessary, is what we wrote in our objective. And then we're going to combine any like terms we happen to have. In this example, we're not going to have any like terms on the same side of the equal sign. We're just going to simplify it to get rid of the parenthesis. And then it's going to be just like what we did last section. So, the distributive property. If you don't fully understand or realize what it is, check out Algebra 1 has a video posted on the distributive property, or look at all the notes and examples we did in class, because we specifically took time to focus on the distributive property first before we came to this section. But even if you haven't done that, or you're absent, or maybe you didn't do that, I'm going to briefly explain it here, but then we're going to move forward with what we've been doing. Basically what the distributive property says is if you have something on the outside of the parentheses touching like that, when things touch parentheses, that means multiply. But here's the thing, it's not just 4 times x. You notice the parentheses go around all of it. It's 4 times all of it, which means we're going to have 4 times x and 4 times -2. That's what we're going to do. And so that's literally what we do to show our work. We say, okay, we draw little lines to remind us. Okay, so that means our first one we have is 4 times x. Then we have 4 times -2. A positive times a negative is a negative, so we're going to put a minus sign because it's a negative. We're going to write 4 times 2. And then just drop down the equal sign. Now, do the same thing on the right side. But before that, let's focus on what we're doing on the left side. 4 times x, well, that's just 4x. 4 times 2, that's 8. And we had a minus sign, so -8 or -8. And so that's what the left side looks simplified. We've now simplified the left side. We're going to do the same thing to simplify the right side. Take a moment to think if you know how to do it yourself. Maybe hit pause. Okay, so same thing on the right side. Distribute the 3. So we're going to have 3 times x. And then that's just going to equal 3x. But do not make the most common mistake that people make with the distributive property. What everyone forgets is they forget to multiply it by the second one. They'll just write -3, and that would be wrong. That would be incorrect. You have to multiply it by both. So 3 times -3, but that's a positive times a negative. Well, that equals a negative, so we're going to put a minus sign there. Alright, so we're going to have 3 times 3. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, so we have 3x minus 9, or 3x and then -9. So we now have an equation to where we've simplified both sides. We look to see if we have any like terms over here. We do not. We look to see if we have any like terms over here. We do not. Okay, so we've done the first 2 parts of our objective. We've simplified both sides, and we've combined our like terms. Now, you're just going to solve it like a regular equation with a variable on both sides, just like we did last section. So the same rules apply. It's the exact same skills from this point forward, so I'm not going to over-explain it, but I'm just going to briefly remind you. We should, to be most efficient, to avoid negatives, we don't have to do it this way, but we should move the smaller variable towards the bigger one. So that would be that one. So it would cancel on that side. Alright, so then just drop down what you have left. That 9 on the right side is not just regular 9, it's -9. So you drop down a -9. And then on the left side, 4x minus 3x, well, that's just 1x. You're welcome just to write x, because 1x is just x. You don't need that 1. And then drop down the -8. Okay, so move that -8 to the other side. Alright, and like I said, you don't need that 1 in front of it, so you end up with x equals -1. That is the solution to this equation. X equals -1. So now, if you have any doubt that you're not sure if you put in the correct answer or not, plug that thing back in. So, or even if you don't, just get in the habit of doing it. So both of these x's will become a -1. That's what that means. So if you were to do the left one, -1 minus 2, well, that's -3. So we'd have -3 in here. Then we have 4 times -3, since there's a 4 out there. 4 times -3, well, that's -12. So we have -12 equal sign. Now let's check the other side. If we put a -1 right here, we'll have -1 minus 3. Well, that's -4. So this inside would equal -4. So we would have 3 times -4. Well, that's negative 12. So we'd end up with negative 12 equals negative 12. And yes, that is a true statement. That does check out. So you do have the solution guaranteed. You can still plug in your answers and check them, guys. Same skill. All right, so recap. All we did was distribute, okay? And then after that we had no parentheses. So then we solved it just like an equation we did last section. All right, let's take a look at this example. We're going to do the distributive property. So take a moment to see if you can do that. Do the distributive property just to simplify, but then combine like terms. Okay, the left side becomes negative 5p minus 10. Now, when you do the distributive property on the right side, you're going to have this plus p out here, and you're going to end up having a like term of whatever this becomes when you do 2 times 2p. Go ahead and give that a shot. So you'll notice you'll have like terms on the right side. You should combine those like terms before you try solving anything. So that's 4p, and then that says plus p on the one on the end. So that the thing in front of it tells you how to combine them. So it says plus. 4p plus p is 5p, or you think of that as 1p if you need to. So now you have negative 5p minus 10 equals positive 5p minus 30. Your job is to solve this. You should move the smaller one towards the bigger one. The smaller one is negative 5p, so move that by adding 5p to both sides. Cancel on that side. And on the left side, you're left with negative 10 equals, on the right side, that's positive 10p minus 30. Now take your time. You should be able to solve from here. It's a two-step equation. I ran out of room, so I had to go to the side, but you end up with 2 equals p. P equals positive 2. That would be the answer to this solution. Now feel free to plug that in and check it if you have any doubt, or you're not sure, or you just want to confirm and be confident. Alright, I want you to give this example a try. Remember, distribute property on both sides if necessary, and then combine any like terms, and then solve. Hit pause and give this one a shot. Alright, so we use the distributive property right there on the right side. So that turns into 6 times z plus 6 times 2. That plus 8 is still out there. Okay, 6 times z, well that's just 6z. 6 times 2 is 12, and we still have the plus 8. So then we're going to combine like terms on that side. So we have 6z, 12 and 8 plusing together equal positive 20, so plus 20. So that's the right side simplified all the way down. So the left side I'm just going to drop. The left side I'm just going to drop it down. 4z minus 6. This way you don't feel like you have to write it over and over again, that left side, because you weren't doing anything over there. But essentially, I just focused on the right side first and just dropped the left side down since there was nothing to do. Now you're going to solve it from here like a regular equation. So if you think you understand that, if you haven't done it already, maybe give it a shot. Okay, we should move the smaller one towards the bigger one, like this, and then they cancel on the left side. And on the left side, you just have negative 6 equals 2z plus 20. Now it's a two-step equation. You definitely should be able to solve it from here. Negative 6 minus 20, you're going to go deeper into the negative, so you're going to be at negative 26. And on the right side, you're left with 2 times z. So all you have to do now is divide both sides by 2. And if you do that, you end up with negative 13 equals z. Z equals negative 13. Alright, you know what time it is. It's time for an example with fractions. So we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use our fraction skills. We're going to take it step by step and take it easy, and you're going to end up with a valid answer. So let's take our time. So regardless of there being fractions, first things first, we're going to do the same thing that we did in the last section, or in the last examples. We're going to do the distributive property first. So that means we're going to have half times 4, and then we're going to have negative 4, then half times positive 6x. So take a moment to write that out. Except I want to point out, a positive times a negative, we multiply by negative 4. A positive times a negative is a negative, so it's going to become a negative answer. So I'm just going to put that negative in front now, so that you can just say negative half times 4. It is technically half times negative 4, but it doesn't really matter which one of those is negative, because a negative times a positive is going to be a negative. So we're going to end up with half of 4 is 2, so that's going to be negative 2. Regardless of who you made negative, that's what it's going to come out to. And half of 6x, or half of 6, is 3, so we end up with plus 3x. So that left side equals negative 2 plus 3x. Well, look, no more fractions. So now let's do the right side. Nothing's happening to the 1/3 x as of right now, because we need to worry about distributing this stuff first. So I'm going to ignore it. So positive times a positive is a positive. So 2/3 times x. Well, 2/3 times x, that's just 2/3 x. Stick them together, and then we're going to have positive times a positive is a plus is a positive, so we're going to have 2/3 times 9. Well, 2/3 times 9, because 3 goes into 9 evenly, this is going to be a pretty answer. And so the answer is going to be 6. But if you're not sure why, I'm going to briefly show my work, but then I'm going to erase it. If you do go ahead and multiply those out, you'll get 18 over 3, and that simplifies to 6 over 1, and that's just 6. So that's one of the ways you can prove and know that it's 6. But essentially, I'm just going to go ahead and write 6 there. Okay, so I just wrote 6 there, but for the work reason I showed, you're welcome to do it off to the side to remind yourself where it came from. So 2/3 times 9, that gave us the 6. And then just drop down the 1/3 x. Okay, so look what we now have. We now just need to combine like terms on both sides if we can. The left side, nothing combined, it's already done. The right side, we have like terms right here. We have 1/3 x plus 2/3 x. Those are like terms. They have the same variable with the same exponent. So we're going to add the coefficients, is what we're going to do. So 1/3 plus 2/3, well, that's 3/3. But here's the thing, 3/3, what is 3/3 really? 3/3 is 1. So that means 1 whole. So this means 1x. That means those are going to combine to give us 1x. That's what that means. So our like terms are going to combine to give us 1x. And the coefficient's of 1, you don't really need it. But I'm going to leave it there for now. So I'm going to go ahead and drop everything down. Alright, from here, just move your smaller x towards the bigger x, and then go ahead and solve the rest of your steps. We have -2 plus 2x equals 6. So now go ahead and, now it's a two-step equation, get rid of this -2, then get rid of that +2. So to get rid of -2, the opposite is going to be +2. That's what we're going to do to both sides. And then we're going to divide both sides by 2. Okay, I'm out of room, so I'm going to have to go to the side again, but we're going to go ahead and finish now by dividing both sides by 2. We end up with x equals 4. So our final answer is x equals 4. That is the solution to this scary fraction question. X equals 4. So just perspective, what we did is we distributed those fractions, and we did it on both sides, and then we combined like terms to get from those x's down to just turn into a 1x. And then after that, it solved like a regular equation. Look, we were fortunate. We didn't have any fractions to deal with at that point. So take your time, show your work, keep calm, show your work. Fractions are no big deal. Alright, so we're going to make that our last example. In class, we'll focus on some more. In class, we'll do a few word problems when we get ready for it, and we'll learn how to maybe write our own equations with the word problems using the skills we've already been learning, and then we're going to go solve some equations with those. But basically, guys, every single question is the same. We're going to simplify both sides first by using the distributive property, combining any like terms if necessary, and then we're going to solve it using the properties of equality like we would any other equation. Alright, well, good luck, keep calm, show your work. Take care.